Have you ever felt like you've lost a piece of your personality once you switch to another language? Testing. I don't think it's going to be too loud anyway, because once I start speaking a different language, I lower my voice and I make it quieter. By the way, have you ever felt like you've lost a piece of your personality once you switch to another language? Because I think I definitely had that moment when I first realized that my personality when I'm speaking English is kind of reduced. I mean, I do feel like I'm a lesser version of myself when I speak a different language, especially the one that I'm just starting to learn, for example. And well, the reasons for that are quite simple, I guess, but anyway, I'm not really happy with the situation and I think I need to fix this somehow. I mean, I saw a whole Reddit post about a guy basically complaining how his personality just shrinks when he starts speaking a different language. And it's totally relatable, I guess. So I thought, why not talk about this a little bit today? As you could have noticed, I have a YouTube channel that is not in my native language. So I'm kind of in the topic. The first thing that I wanted to say is actually, no matter how much I complain about my personality shrinking when I speak a different language learning actually adds to your personality, not subtracts. And it's actually fear and insecurity who are to blame. So actually there are two types of underlying issues, and I hate to break it to you, the first one and the most important one to deal with is the psychological one. It isn't actually related to the target language itself, it is about how you behave in an unknown environment. I really think there should be no pressure to be funny, to be outgoing when you're just in a totally new company. When you are learning a language, everything around you is new. When you're going to a party full of strangers, do you start joking, being your true self, vibing with everyone? No? Well, don't expect to do the same thing in a totally new environment, which is a new language. And it's totally fine to just look around first of all, sit down at the back of the room and listen. I think it's going to be fine. Don't expect to be very talkative right away. If you are afraid of offending people around you, breaking some cultural taboos, well, I totally get you, because the cultures are very different and something that is totally fine in your native language, in your culture, can be not so well perceived in a different environment. Avoid topics that are tricky from the very beginning, like politics, religion, I don't know, death. So yeah, just avoid that. And if you are afraid of offending someone, it means that you are still in the previous stage of just figuring out who you are hanging out with, because you don't know the people around you yet. Give yourself more time. If you're so worried about not getting your message correctly, use your facial expressions. That is something so obvious in your native language, but it's not so obvious once you start speaking a different one. Oh, by the way, accent. If you're still worried about this, please watch my previous video. I'm also bringing you some good news by saying that we are not only defining the causes here, we are also talking about the solutions. And one of the best psychological advice that I can give to myself right now is talk to yourself. You don't have to feel mortified by just the slightest thought of talking with other people if you don't need to. If you give yourself a break and just talk to your own self, you won't have to feel so ashamed and so self-conscious, because nobody will notice your mistakes. Nobody will know that your joke was not funny. So talk to yourself. It's fun. And you can practice dialogues in which you are the hero and where your jokes are funny. And yeah, it can actually be therapeutic. If you're not confident in your target language, that's fine. Just don't bite what you can't chew. Don't try to deliver exquisite punchlines based on wordplay or on some sophisticated irony. Well, you know these guys who are trying to deliver these jokes in your native language, and actually not everyone gets them. And it's their native language. Really think about how those people in your native language do the same and fail. It's not about the language. So, since we're done with the psychological matters, let's talk about the things that are related to how well you speak the language. Since the language-related cause is actually just one, your level is just not good enough to be confident in how you deliver your message, in how you speak. Here I'm going to focus mostly on how to fix that. The obvious way is to just keep learning the language, but we're trying to figure out the shortcut, right? So the shortcut here is build a strong portfolio of memes. I think that's the easiest thing to do because you don't have to worry so much about the input. You don't have to speak. You just have to look up some funny pictures in the internet, okay? And once you build a strong portfolio of memes, you will simply know when to spice things up when the opportunity arises. Because those are templates for jokes. They are already working and people know them and you can use them to joke around. That's great. Yeah, that's great. Another thing is to read or to listen to some comedy. I don't think it's going to be that much useful as the previous point, but you can pick a thing or two. If you are in a group of people who do not speak your native language and you have to speak a different language, you can use your background because, as I already mentioned, learning a language doesn't subtract from your personality, it only adds to it. Because you already have that huge background in your native language. And you just add things as you learn a different one. Just don't forget to explain when you're talking about things that are relatable to your background. Don't forget to explain because other people may not have the same experience as you do. And that's totally fine. And you're going to be funnier, going to be more interesting if you're just talking about what you actually are. Also, you can use your native language as additive. You know how your friends use a certain language, they learn to add things to what they say just to show off? Yeah, I mean, you can do this in reverse. However, if it's not working, I'm sorry, no refund. I just suggested this. Also, slow burning jokes are your best friends in this situation. And I know that because I'm a slow thinker when it comes to speaking a different language. I think that's alright. So yeah, slow burning jokes are the best and I think they're the funniest as well. I don't know, sometimes I think that I'm being too serious when I speak a different language just because I lose some part of my personality that is funny and that is ready to add a joke or two on the way. But yeah, I don't blame English. I blame myself. Just checking the notes, probably I do blame them. No, I don't. Yeah, and I also wanted to say that neither I blame Mandarin or French, which I'm not a confident speaker of, but I learned them a little bit. I understand that they add to my personality, they make me the person that I am, and I am more interesting than I was before. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have some funny or interesting stories about your personality expanding or shrinking in a different language, please let me know in the comments, because I'm still trying to overcome this. I'm still in the learning process.